So, you've seen people playing Magic the Gathering, right? It looks incredible, but maybe a little complicated from the outside? Well, don't worry. We're going to break down everything you need to know to jump into your very first game. It's all about becoming a powerful wizard, slinging spells, and summoning awesome creatures. Let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, who hasn't wanted to command dragons, right? Or summon entire armies just out of thin air? That's the feeling Magic captures. People often say it's like chess meets poker, and that's a pretty great way to think about it. You've got the deep, forward-thinking strategy of chess, but also the resource management and calculated risks of poker. It's a really cool mix. So where do you fit into this whole epic picture? Well, you're not just a player. In the world of Magic, you are a Planeswalker. Think of a Planeswalker as a wizard so incredibly powerful, they can literally travel between different universes, or planes as they're called. And what do you do there? You battle other Planeswalkers in these amazing duels of wits, magic, and strategy.
Okay, so every duel needs a way to keep score. In Magic, it's super simple. You and your opponent each start with 20 life points. That's it. That number is your health bar, and your one and only goal is to knock your opponent's 20 life down to 0 before they do the same to you. Be the last one standing. Simple as that.
All right, so how do you actually do all this cool stuff? How do you cast those powerful spells and summon those huge creatures? Well, it all starts with your resources. So let's talk about lands and mana.
All your magic is fueled by an energy called mana. You can think of it like magical currency. Every card in your hand has a mana cost, and you need to pay that cost to play the card.
And where does that mana come from? It comes from your land cards. Honestly, the best way to think about your lands is as rechargeable batteries. Each turn, you can play one of these batteries from your hand. To get the energy, you tap it, which is just a fancy way of saying you turn it sideways. And the best part, at the start of your next turn, they all untap, fully recharged and ready to go again.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. See, it's not just one type of mana. There are 5 different colors of mana, and each one has its own personality, its own play style. As we go through them, you should totally be thinking, which one of these sounds like me?
So, check this out. This is what players call the color pie. Are you all about order and building up huge armies? White is probably for you. Or maybe you're more about knowledge, deception, and controlling the game. That's blue. Black is all about raw power, ambition, and even using death to your advantage. Red is pure chaos and impulse. Just burn everything. And green is all about the power of nature and summoning massive creatures. Your choice of color really defines your whole strategy. Okay, so you've got your lands, you've got your mana. Now for the fun part. Let's see how you actually use that stuff to win the game. It's time for spells and combat. Your turn is actually pretty simple when you break it down into 3 steps. First, you get ready. You recharge all your batteries, untap your lands, and draw a new card. Second, you take action. Play a land, use your mana to cast spells, summon creatures. And third, you attack. Time to send your forces into battle. Now here is a key rule that trips up almost every new player, so listen up. Creatures have something called summoning sickness. All that means is they can't attack on the same turn you play them. They kind of need a turn to get their bearings. It's a crucial rule that gives your opponent a chance to prepare a defense, which is what keeps the game balanced. So, let's look at a classic combat situation. You've decided to send your goblin in to attack. To show that he's attacking, you tap him sideways. Now the ball is in your opponent's court. They see that goblin coming, and they've got that forest bear just waiting. They have a choice. Do they let the attack through and take the damage, or do they have their bear jump in the way to block it? And this brings us to what is maybe the single most important rule of combat in all of Magic. When you attack, you don't attack their creatures. You attack the opponent directly. It is then their job to decide which of their creatures, if any, get in the way to block. This simple rule creates a ton of strategic depth and makes every single attack a little minigame of its own. But you know what? The game of Magic doesn't just start when you sit down to play. For so many players, the real fun, the real game, happens before the duel even begins. And that's building your very own deck. This is so true. The deck you build is a total reflection of your personality. It's how you express your strategic mind. Do you want to be super aggressive or cunning and defensive? Maybe you want to pull off some wild, unexpected combo? Your deck is your masterpiece. Now, there are a few golden rules you gotta follow. Your deck has to have at least 60 cards, and you can only have up to 4 copies of any single card. Except for basic lands, you can have as many of those as you want. A really great starting point is to aim for about 24 lands and 36 spells.
That ratio is just a tried and true formula to make sure you're drawing a good mix of everything you need. So, what's the secret to building a powerful deck? It all comes down to one word: synergy. This means you're not just picking a bunch of good cards, you're picking cards that work as a team, cards that make each other better and create something more powerful than the sum of their parts. Take a look at this hand. This is a perfect example of what's called tribal synergy. This Dragon Lord, he's powerful on his own, sure, but his real strength is that he makes every single other dragon you control even more dangerous. He turns an already scary threat into an absolutely unstoppable force. That's synergy in action. And that's your crash course in the world of Magic the Gathering. We have barely even scratched the surface, but now you have the tools to start your own journey. So pick a color, build a deck, and find out, what kind of Planeswalker are you meant to be?